Hello, and welcome to my review of Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars Star War. To all Star Wars fans, know that this movie has many Star Wars things, and Star Wars is such a great film that by association, Rogue One is the best movie of the year. 10 out of 10. Forgive me for saying this, but Rogue One, a Star Wars story, is such a forced film, a straight-up cash grab that refuses to take risks. I thought the whole point of Episode 7 was to reset the franchise so we could explore new territory, develop new characters, build on established lore, make good movies again? Guess not. Despite having more potential, I cannot praise Rogue One in almost any of the ways I praised The Force Awakens. Rogue One lacks compelling characters and fails as a good movie in its own right. It's Star Wars for the sake of Star Wars. Without blind love for the original trilogy, this film becomes a generic, overblown blockbuster. Given its material, it unnecessarily strains to stretch itself into an event of epic proportions. The stealing of the Death Star plans is portrayed as the single most important and action-packed event in the history of the Rebel Alliance, awkwardly beginning to overshadow the eventual destruction of the Death Star in its scope. The conflict between the Rebels and the Empire is depicted more as the Clone Wars Part 2 than the small, insignificant force that we root for in the original film. I now have no idea how the Rebels lost the Battle of Hoth. Maybe I'm the only one who always assumed the stealing of the Death Star plans was more of a tactical operation, an intimate event where 5 or 6 characters carefully planned out a heist, and in the end they all tragically died but like one person who would deliver the plans. Evidently, when Mon Mothma said many had died to retrieve these plans, she meant a full half of the Rebel force. Anyway, they approached the story all wrong, trying to turn it into a giant spectacle where there was real potential for a subtler story to be told, and for us to have any reason to care what's happening beyond "It's Star Wars!" In the chaos, we aren't allowed to learn much about the ensemble of new action figures, characters. Even though a smaller scale film would have been more appropriate, if you're doing the big blockbuster thing, take a note from The Force Awakens and write some likable characters and wittier dialogue. Side note, they got the guys from the Raid movies for The Force Awakens and didn't deliver the most amazing Star Wars action sequence of all time. That's okay, you get one, but then you cast Donnie Yen, possibly the greatest martial arts star alive, and give us 2 quick little sequences that might as well have been filmed with a stunt double? That's criminal. Some might argue that Felicity Jones experiences an arc because she goes through a lot, or has the most screen time, I guess, and she saves that stupid kid who was crying in the street, but nothing develops. By the end of the movie, nothing's changed. She hasn't realized anything about herself. This is bullshit. How does this movie build on the Star Wars universe? I don't know. Now we know the stealing of the Death Star plans was a lot less cool than it sounded. Grand Moff Tarkin and another character are portrayed in this movie digitally, and it's noticeable and distracting, and I hate it. But guys, Darth Vader, right? Darth Vader is to Rogue One what the Joker was to Suicide Squad. Put him on the poster, we'll sell more tickets that way. Take him out of this movie and literally nothing changes. But that's not the worst of it. With Easter eggs, subtlety is key. And here, they're shoved down our throats and out our asses like the pieces of shit they... Remember that time in the second Hobbit movie where that one elf asked the other dwarf about the picture and he's like, "That's my wee lad Gimli." It's like that, but worse. And the way this movie ends is pathetic. The best thing Rogue One does is wide establishing shots. Gareth Edwards has provided us with dozens of legit new Star Wars desktop wallpapers. I will say it's a pretty damn good looking movie. Has some neat visual ideas and is fundamentally decent, but when that's the best thing I can say about your movie, well, it's not a good movie. At best, a 5 out of 10.